Our story starts in Umoja, a small village hugged by green hills and old baobab trees. For years, Kofi's life was a rough cloth of trouble and being alone. Marked as an outsider after bad things done by those who wanted what his family had, Kofi lived on the edge of the village. His house was a small, falling-down hut, not like the strong houses of his old neighbors. He worked hard under the hot sun, doing bits of jobs for little pay, just enough to stop his belly from aching. The villagers, their memories short when it suited them, whispered behind his back, their words like stones hitting his hurt heart. They remembered the bad talk spread by the jealous ones, forgetting the kindness his family once showed. They only saw the shadow on him, not the man underneath. But in the dust and sadness, a fire for what was right burned in Kofi. He remembered the good fields that once belonged to his family, fields that gave plenty and fed folks for years. He remembered the day those fields were taken wrong, the papers twisted, the lies that made his family look bad. He knew who did it. Chief Baraka, a man with power and tricks, and his two mean friends, Juma and Femi. They wanted his family's land, and with lies and cheating, they took it all, leaving Kofi and his family with nothing. His parents died with broken hearts, their spirits crushed by the unfairness. Kofi never forgot. Every sore muscle, every empty stomach, every mean look from the villagers fed a quiet promise. One day, the truth would come out, and those who hurt his family would pay. He held onto the memory of his parents' honest lives, their strong goodness, and the wrong that stole their peace. This memory stayed with him, a quiet promise of payback to come. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months, and months to years. Kofi lived alone, working hard and thinking quietly. He often walked the edges of his family's stolen land, his heart heavy with wanting and a quiet anger. One hot afternoon, after a very hard day's work, Kofi found himself near the village market. He didn't often go to the middle of the village, but today, something felt different. A lottery seller, his voice loud with promises of luck, caught Kofi's eye. It was a rare treat, a small bit of hope in his sad life. With the last of his little money, Kofi bought one lottery ticket, a small piece of paper with a tiny bit of chance. He put it away, almost forgetting it in the everyday fight to live. Days later, while fixing his worn-out fishing net, Kofi heard excited talk from some villagers. The lottery numbers were out, and someone in Umoja had won a big pot of money, enough to change their life. Curious, Kofi reached into his torn pocket and pulled out the crumpled ticket. His heart beat fast as he slowly, carefully, checked the numbers. One by one, they matched. He couldn't believe it. Then a feeling he hadn't had in years came over him. Hope. Kofi, the village outcast, the man who only knew hard times, was now rich. He saw the irony. The very village that pushed him away was now buzzing about the lucky winner, but few knew it was the man they'd cast aside. He knew this sudden luck was more than just chance. It was a chance, a way to finally make things right from the past. Kofi knew just showing off his new money wouldn't do anything but make folks angrier and maybe even put him in danger. He didn't just want to be rich. He wanted to show the truth and get back what was rightly his family's. He went back to being alone, the weight of his new money, a heavy secret. He spent days and nights carefully planning what to do next. First, he hid his money safely. He went to the nearest city, a place where no one knew him, and found a lawyer he could trust. He told his story about his family's land and the unfairness they suffered. The lawyer, unsure at first, believed Kofi because he was so determined and had old family papers he had kept safe. Together, they made a plan. Kofi wouldn't say he won the lottery right away. Instead, he'd use his money quietly to find out about the land theft, getting solid proof against Chief Baraka, Juma, and Femi. He hired people to investigate, good at finding hidden truths. They looked through old papers, talked to old friends who were now angry, and put together the tricky web of lies that brought his family down. Weeks turned into months as they dug into the past. Kofi stayed in his small hut, quietly watching the village that didn't know. He saw Chief Baraka and his friends getting rich on his family's land, getting cockier with every good harvest. Seeing this made him more determined. He wouldn't let them keep up their lies. What was right, even if it took time, would be done. The day Kofi had waited for finally came. His investigators had enough proof. Fake papers, officials who took bribes, and stories from those who were too scared to talk before. Kofi, with his lawyer's help, made a plan that would not only show who is guilty, but would do it where everyone could see. He used some of his winnings to put on a live TV show, saying it was to celebrate a new school he was paying for in the village. He invited Chief Baraka and other important villagers, including Juma and Femi, to be honored guests. They came, full of pride for being seen with such a generous man, not knowing the storm that was coming. The show started, the cameras rolling, showing the smiling faces of the village leaders. Kofi, calm and steady, stood at the front, thanking everyone for coming. He talked about how important it was to be together and move forward, his words carefully chosen with a bit of hidden meaning that only he knew. Then his voice changed. Kofi's voice got strong, his eyes looking right at Chief Baraka. He talked about the past, about his family, and the land that was taken from them unfairly. The crowd got quiet, the happy feeling gone, replaced by a heavy tension. He showed the proof, one piece at a time, on big screens for everyone to see. The fake papers, the signed stories of those who were forced to be quiet, the detailed story of how the land was stolen. It was all there, out in the open for the world to see. Chief Baraka, Juma, and Femi's faces, just moments before looking like good people, now twisted with not believing and fear. They tried to talk over him, to say it wasn't true, but Kofi's voice, made louder by the microphones, rang with the power of truth. He spoke of their greed, their lies, and the pain they caused his family. The villagers watched in shock as the truth came out. The whispers and bad talk that once pointed at Kofi now turned to those who spread them. They finally saw the unfairness of it all. The live show became a public trial, the proof undeniable, the shame of the guilty clear. The school Kofi first talked about was actually his way of getting his family's land back. He said he would buy the stolen land and give a big part of it to the very school he mentioned, a sign of hope and proof that justice lasts. After the show, things happened fast. The police, who Kofi's lawyer had told beforehand, came and arrested Chief Baraka, Juma, and Femi. The proof shown on TV was too much, and everyone wanted justice loudly. The village of Umoja was in chaos, dealing with the truth of the hidden badness. The villagers, many who had pushed Kofi away, now looked at him with a mix of awe and regret. They saw him not as the outcast they once thought, but as a man of strong goodness and quiet strength. Kofi, now the rightful owner of his family's land again, chose to make peace instead of getting revenge. He knew the whole village had suffered because of a few. He built the school he promised, a light of learning and chance for all the children of Umoja, no matter their family's name. He also started projects to make the villagers' lives better, using his money to bring clean water, better toilets, and doctors to the village that once shunned him. His actions spoke loudly, showing a kindness that surprised even those who hated him most. The land that had caused so much pain and unfairness now became a sign of healing and progress. Kofi, the village outcast who won the lottery, used his luck not to celebrate his enemy's downfall, but to build a better future for his community. He shamed his enemies not with meanness, but with the undeniable power of truth and the changing power of forgiveness. Kofi's story reminds us that unfairness, no matter how hidden, will eventually come to light. It teaches us about the strength of the human spirit, the importance of holding